everyone, and welcome to this episode of Pardon Your French podcast in partnership with Coppercock Distillery. I'm Vanessa.
I'm Stephanie.
And we're here today with Sarah. And
hello.
And Sarah and I met through golf, actually, like most of the people we bring on the show. And you were recommended by Annette, who came on. You're a font of knowledge. Even just reading your introduction for your gardening book, I was like, oh, yeah, she's got a lot going on, this woman. So many different varieties of questions that we can ask. But Steph got very excited because
I saw it and I was like, the uncomplicated gardening. I was like, that's what I need.
Yeah,
because I adore flowers and growing vegetables at home, and I've got 2.5 acre garden, and I cannot cope with it at all. And everything I buy, I destroy in a week, even though I water it. And I don't understand. I'm one of these. I'm like the worst beginner or gardener, I think. You know.
You obviously don't buy the right plants, I'm afraid.
Oh, I didn't know. Oh, tell me more, Sarah. That's going wrong.
I don't know but do you mean veg or?
I did. So for some reason, I can grow cucumbers and lettuce and tomatoes like for the whole of France, I think. But when it comes to flowers, they just don't survive even a week. I don't know if it's the wind. So I don't know what plant it was, but it was very pretty and green. And I was watering it, and it was very beautiful. And then within a few days, the leaves were starting to go brown and a bit clear, like the colour was going.
It's just so complicated, isn't it? Because A, what's your soil like? B,
raised beds.
Would that flower like that position in your garden? Like the first thing you said was, I didn't know what flower it was.
So I was thinking.
So, that looks pretty.
Yeah.
And that's one of the big things in the book is that the first thing people do when they move to a new garden or inherit a garden or start gardening is buy plants, because they go to a garden centre and they go, oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And they take it home, but they don't know if they put it in the right place, in the right soil, what the plant is. So you don't really know how to look after it.
Yes.
So I think, you need to sort of know
a little bit more
about
what's going, because I've got a hydrangea as well.
Oh yeah,
a white one, and that's cool.
Where did you put it?
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie. Because I was doing a property tour of my house, so I wanted it to look pretty. So I just put it in a pot that it had already come inside another pot with no soil. Just was watering it just for a few days so I could film. But it's all white, and it's all sort of gone brown on the edges and started to kind of look very sad. So
hydrangeas are mentioned in there specifically because
temperamental.
Everyone buys hydrangeas, and a lot of people put them in the wrong place. It's weird. I've started working in gardens, and the most common plant I've come across that is dying is a hydrangea.
Oh, really?
wow.
Because people always plant them in the sunshine because they want to put them in a sunny spot, and the hydrangeas can't take a sunny spot, especially in our temperatures.
You do have southern exposure as well in your house, don't you?
Mm.
Oh, if you put it south facing, it's got no chance.
Although it hasn't even been nice. The weather hasn't even been good.
But it's died really. It's gone off really quickly.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I think sometimes you buy them from a garden center here, and you're shocking the hell out of them. And we always,
absolutely.
I was saying I really like to buy plants from Lidl or like rescue them from Lidl, because you know that they're in the worst conditions possible in warehouses, just getting chucked about, overwatered. Lots of bad stuff is happening to that plant. So if it's alive when you get it, it's hardy. It's going to survive a lot of the stuff that you're putting it when you're transplanting it. Whereas some of the like fancier garden centers, they like really look after the plants, and you are going to be the one that shocks them. Like even, what's the one? Gamver. Their like indoor garden area is so lovely and lush and well looked after.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pampered, so they look beautiful. So you come out on the buy them.
I went and I bought like 2 hanging baskets, this big green thing, this hydrangea. But I'm terrible because I literally will spend at least, I don't know, €600 a year on flowers, and they've all died. But I went to Action and I bought like a shaker.
The wallflower.
Yeah,
seed.
wallflower. My old flat.
Yeah,
And you know what? I've just gone mad and I've just like a fairy dust, and I've sprinkled them everywhere, and they look incredible.
Well, I mean, the thing is that with like the wildflower seeds, because what comes up and survives is what comes up and survives.
Yeah.
So it's going to do well, isn't it? Because it's already put the energy into bothering to
Yeah.
grow and make the effort. Whereas, like we were saying, at a garden centre, they're so pampered
Yeah.
to persuade you to buy it
Yeah.
that, when you get home, all the roots have been developed and watered and blah, 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 and then you take it out and stick it into another soil that it's not ready for. And so,
That's what I do.
Or even taking it outside after it's had its whole life inside. And then you take it out, even though it's nice and warm in spring, like you're still shocking that. It's still a living thing. Like, it's not.
And they're often flowering at the wrong time to persuade you to
buy.
Oh, yeah. So maybe I've bought early then. Have I bought plants that are early to flower, and they were like forced to flower?
Yeah, I think they grow under grow lamps and stuff. Yeah, for a lot of these, like even when you buy the fruiting tunnels. Yeah,
so they're much warmer.
Oh,
And then you take them and put them outside.
and like little babies.
Yeah.
They're like,
We have to harden them off and stuff. It's like you basically take them outside for a few hours every day, then bring them back in.
yeah,
And you get it ready.
Never do that.
I have much better success if I do. But like I said, if you get them from Lidl and you just shove them outside, you might get 4.
They do, and they don't.
2 of them survive and 2 of them don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were cheap. What do you want?
Yeah. No, I mean, you are my target audience.
I literally will buy the book. Yeah, I am. I am the worst novice. And my friend Natalie, who we had on one of the first interviews podcast, is an avid gardener. And every time I go around her house, and she's like, "Come look at the garden," I'm like, fine. And I go out and I'm like, God, everything's beautiful and raised beds, and it's got straw on it, and she's got a polytunnel with all her seedlings. And I'm like, Natalie, go away. I was like, I don't have the energy in my life for being that good at this.
Well, that's exactly that, though, isn't it? That's the point.
Yeah, that's one of the
point of the
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for your garden? Because Natalie's expectations are totally different to your expectations.
Knows all about
And
plants.
that's
And
the point of having a go.
Yeah.
You're never going to go out and have a go at gardening if you think, I want this perfect
Yeah.
garden. It's like, my garden is completely minimalist. We got garden in about 4,000 square meters.
Right.
And we spend maybe maximum, 8 hours a month.
That's interesting.
I've got one big flower bed that I've just chucked plants in there sort of 10 years ago, and it flowers from January to November. Something in it is flowering,
Wow.
and it just thrives on neglect, and that's absolutely fine.
That's my idea of gardening. And I think when I visit most people's houses here, they are English and they love English gardens.
Yeah.
But then it's remembering, well, we're in France. It's a different climate, soil, and everything. And so what would be a really great tip for an English person that's moving to France and wants a beautiful, lush, colourful garden?
I mean, you can get the same effect, but not with the same plants.
Right, okay.
So you could still get a cottage garden effect, but you just need plants that will survive our winters because, we'll get -12.
Yeah.
We could easily get -12 for a few days. Yeah. And our summers, more importantly, the heat.
The drubbiness, such extremes there, one to the other. The plants can't.
No, it's all the summers that you've got to be careful with.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what's in the UK, you wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
Right. And the dry.
Because as soon as you see the draft turning, that's when I'm like, oh no. It's, when it's like it feels desert.
But then you put in your Mediterranean type plants, you put in your Goras and your Perovskias, which give you the country, the cottage.
Well, I've not heard of those. I'm going to look through this. I'll be like the Gavver tomorrow. Maybe little.
Because you just want the tall for a cottage garden. You want the tall and the packed in, don't you?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, different heights.
I like the creepers, like the the ground creepers, the thyme and
Beetle and yeah.
and basically they're like color, but they just spread themselves along, and that's very cottagey as well. Like when you go around there when it's in bloom, I'll take you around.
Yeah.
And it's surprising, although that's very sheltered as well. So one of the things about the book is like, where is your garden?
Yeah,
is it southern exposure? Is it on north side of your building? Like that all affects what you're able to grow. And
yeah, totally.
it's really in
More than your soil.
Okay.
well, you can buy new soil. You can't. Well, you could build an Aubrey or something, but
No, exactly.
yeah,
That's it. I mean, I've got like a Virginia creeper going across the whole front of my house, and I adore it.
Yeah.
And it's literally just coming into full bloom now, but it seems to be nothing, and then all of a sudden a bud, and then stay there. So that's my favourite thing to do, is to know when the season's about to start, is by watching that Virginia creeper.
Yeah.
And every time I drive down my little driveway and I look at it, just brings me so much joy actually when I see it. I adore plants, and I absolutely love them, but I'm just lacking knowledge to be able to make the most of what I buy or the actual area that I've got, because obviously outside of mine I've got some pots and hanging baskets and that little bit, haven't I, with like bluebells and roses and things, but then I find most of my other garden is very boring because I've just got flat land.
grass.
Yeah. I would love like a garden like escaped, so it looks not professional, but a bit more thought about,
Yeah,
where mine's not thought about. So
taking that with you.
I am very excited. I'm very excited. I'll be like, Dad, right, we redesigned the garden.
Whoa,
See,
new
plastic
section.
plan ideas.
So,
next.
so pivoting a little bit, have you always been quite green-fingered? I mean, you went to school for...
Well, I mean, green-fingered in different ways, I suppose, because I grew up on a dairy farm.
Yeah.
So always outside, always in nature, always helping Dad with the veg garden, Mum with the flower garden. And then went into agricultural training. So I went to masters in agriculture, sustainable agriculture, and engineering. So always keeping the practical, why plants do what they do, why soil does what it does, and everything you need to keep plants growing. And then when I came here, so I'd been working. I hadn't been working in. I'd been working in agriculture, but not in gardening.
Yeah.
And I came here and studied a course up in Angoulême, a gardening course. And so went from there really, because a friend who I rented her studio when I first came here, she was a gardener. And she needed help one week in this beautiful chateau garden, Chateau Maroillat, over near La Tour Blanche, and said, could I give her a hand? So, went to give her a hand. And it was all just like sort of completely natural, because I knew, I know the like nature and what it does type thing.
Yeah.
And so then went on this course in Angoulême, which was a 9-month course where I had to do a week with a gardening company and a week studying at the college.
Wow.
So that was all in
French.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're fluent in French?
Yeah. Or maybe.
Oui.
That's why I came here, really, because I could speak French before I came here. So.
You lived in Mali,
Yeah.
and that's where you learned your French?
Yeah, most of it. I mean, I was here for a year in 1983, but of course I was 19, so who wanted to speak French? Just wanted to go to the discos. Love it. But so then went to West Africa for 5 years. So it's Mali, Burkina Faso, and the Gambia. And so when we started off our contract in Mali, we had a 3-year contract in Mali, myself and a friend. We were in a Mennonite missionary centre where we lived for 3 months, where we just did nothing but learn French for our first 3 months there.
Wow.
And then we went and did our contract. Yeah, so it was there really. And it was a brilliant way to learn because it wasn't any Malians or Burkinabes. It wasn't their first language either.
Right.
So, so they spoke very easy French for me to understand. So it was a brilliant country to learn in, really, because it wasn't like perfect French. It was their second language.
Really great way. I never ever thought about learning French
In West Africa.
Yes, and a direct
Country else's second language.
Yeah, amazing.
So do you have an African sounding French accent? Did you learn those sounds differently? It is different. So when I was in school, we did a lot of listening videos for West African and Caribbean French more than we did, and Canadian, which but more than we did, Parisian style French. So listening and hearing those accents was an integral part to learning French. And then you come here and they're like, no, that's not how it sounds. I'm like, actually, I think you'll find.
Well, no, I mean, I'd love to start speaking French and someone says, oh, you're from Mali. But actually, they say, oh, you're English.
Well, yeah, we have a nice English accent as well.
So no, I don't think it comes across French speaking, unfortunately.
Well, it's amazing though that you've been able to go in and do your course. So you did your course, and then did you decide this is exactly where I'm meant to be in my life, and your purpose, but this is everything about who you are?
Well, yeah, because I've always, even when I was working in international development or not in gardening, I always had work that was outside and physical. And so it's like, and coming from a farm, that's just my thing. That's why I'm the most comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I kept working as a gardener whilst I was doing the course with the stage and that. So I was sort of at the same time building up a bit of a business. So as soon as I finished the course, I just carried on, with my gardens. And then about 6 months after I finished the course, the college phoned me up and asked me if I would teach the course.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went
That's
back
incredible.
so I went back and taught for 2 years. Yeah, and that was challenging in French, I must say. But they loved it. All my students, they sort of really
Embraced it.
yeah, and looked after me and took care of me. But also gardening, you can't garden and think about anything else.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm deadheading, I can't be off somewhere in my head worrying about something. I have to think about, all right, okay, I'm going to get the plant to do this and blah, 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 or just deadhead, or I'm going to go and prune something else, or, and it's like before you know it, you spent an hour out there and you've thought of nothing else but what you're doing. But I just enjoy, the whole process.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the fact that it switches me off, so.
Yeah, and it's not work then, is it? Doesn't feel like work.
No.
I think that's the key. From talking to everybody that I've met so far, it's like do something that never feels like work. It's just a joy.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find that thing in my life. So maybe it is gardening. I'm going to be this amazing garden.
I must say, yes, on Monday I was at a garden and I spent 4 hours weeding gravel, and that was not a joy. And I could have done with something to listen to doing that. That was hard work. But I think it's not just about what you're doing. It's about the fact that I was outside. I could hear birds. I could hear mowers. I could hear life going on.
Yeah.
And it was raining a bit. And I don't know. It's just being out in the element.
Feeling alive.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I like this.
Mother Nature. Yeah. It's at her best then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I'm very excited. The fact that you've written 2 books.
Yeah.
So you've done this. This is the new one, is it?
Yes.
Complicated Garden is the new one.
Yeah. Although I have done it in French as well, but it's just not out yet.
And then Spaghetti Head, which is a novel.
Yeah.
Little fiction. Spaghetti Head. And I am not finished with it yet. I'm about 2/3 of the way through.
John.
But I am really enjoying it. I was saying before, I really like your voice. I am big into speculative fiction. It's a post-apocalyptic story. And it's really cool hearing you kind of give some autobiographical stuff that is obviously woven into the tale of Nell, the character, and the other characters in the book.
Yeah.
and you say that like you sat down one day and drew a pile of spaghetti on a plate and thought that was how you were thinking and feeling at that moment. And then it's about untangling that spaghetti head. So, I mean, it's far more complex than that, though. The book itself, there's elements of politics in it. There's the sustainable gardening. I mean, so how did all those things kind of develop as you started writing?
That's an interesting question. I mean, I suppose, I definitely, I sat down, like I say, I got the picture of the tangled spaghetti and then I wanted the straight rows of spaghetti in my head. And then, I don't know, I just did this thing. So in every November, there's this writing thing called NaNoWriMo. So it's for November, you just write, and the goal is to write 50,000 words. And there's no prize, there's no nothing, you just do it. So I had this idea in my head and I thought, right, okay. So I just took the month of November off work, got my laptop out, sat down. By the end of November, I'd written 90,000 words and I just let everything. And so the woman, the political thing, I suppose, was because, what if a planet was run by women? And I wanted a utopia, but would a utopia ever really, does a utopia really exist? So that was one of the questions as well, because even, with a bunch of women, you're going to have disagreement, whatever, and power struggles and blah, blah, blah. So I kind of wanted to weave that in, with the planet being ruled by women. And I suppose my sustainable agriculture, having worked in Mali, so Mali was part of the groundnut scheme in real life in the 60s, where basically West Africa was paid and subsidized to grow massive quantities of groundnuts for France, because it was obviously a French colony. And then the market dropped out of peanut oil because it was deemed bad for you. So the whole system of the groundnut scheme fell apart. And in Mali, in the village that I lived in Mali, there are massive empty warehouses near the train stations from where this groundnut scheme used to receive and export. So there's all this infrastructure in the area that I was in that had been abandoned for like 40 years.
Wow.
So that came into it as well. And it was, and Fanta's, the restaurant in there where Nell meets your son, and that is the place I used to go and eat, and it was the best chicken and chips. And so it all just, I don't know, it all just sort of fell in.
You love a Frisian cow, so I sang like a
Frisian cow.
Frisian Roomba, basically. It's great. She's a great character. Badass, Lazarus. I think we're gonna call ours Alice now. It's just a regular old house robot, but
yeah. So I tried to just bring bits in,
but it's really poignant. The world ruled by men that is destroying itself, that has this catastrophic thing. It. Considering you wrote this, 20 years ago?
Oh, really? 2006. Yeah,
20 years ago. Yeah. It's really poignant right now in this moment with, potential nuclear war looming and all of these, men ruining everything.
No, absolutely.
So it's amazing how well it tracks for current events as well as, 20 years ago. It was very similar situation. I'm very excited to see how it ends. I'm at a good turning point. I was a good stopping point last night, and I was like, yeah, okay, all right.
So how long did this book take you to write? Sorry.
Oh, well, the initial one was, so I got the 90,000 words out in a month. But then, of course, that's the easy bit.
No.
from then on, you've got the rewriting, and a bit more rewriting, and the editing. And it took me until 2018. But then I didn't do it constantly.
Yeah.
So 2006. So I came over here. So when I came over here, sort of life sort of took me in different directions.
Yeah.
And then I finally got back to it. And so it came out in print in 2018.
Wow.
So I mean, if I'd been working on it permanently, of course, it'd been a lot quicker. But it's just, out of 90,000 words, I mean, that's, I think, 80,000 or 72,000 words, I think. But which ones do I cut out? Yeah. Which ones do I keep? Yeah. And from my original draft, it doesn't even resemble those 90,000 words from the original draft because, I used an editor, even though I self-publish. I use editors and formatters. And so when the report came back from the editor, it's almost yet again another rewrite. Yeah. So it's just a process of working.
Well, it's an evolution, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, totally.
That's it. But I think you must grow as a person. So often we have chapters, don't we? Rebirths, and I think with books as well. I guess you have to until you go. That's it. That's the one.
Well, then that's it. When is it ever the one? Because now I've just read it. I'm like, do you know what? I think I might have another go at it.
Yes, exactly. 16 years went by in the process of writing the book itself. So,
I know.
I think, I've lived here 14 years, and the person I was when I arrived, who I am now, of course, is going to be dramatically different. And like we said, with, political events, current events, things like that, and
those different places,
all those things that come into play.
Maybe you should write a second book of. A sequel for it.
I know, yeah. People have said, will there be a second, a carry on? But I don't know. That's not where I am at the moment.
Yeah.
But no, another thing in there was I didn't want it to be like a man-made disaster. So it's a natural disaster that causes all the reset of it. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was another sort of thing because, I kind of hope that that's what Mother Nature will do.
Yeah.
See them later anyway. Or not hope, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So how can people get hold of your book?
On Amazon.
Yeah.
And I did check on FR and I could find it.
Oh, it didn't. It wouldn't come up when I searched the title and your name. I just got lots of tools for cooking spaghetti that came up.
But so they're both on Amazon, and then I'm going to be doing garden shows.
So that was my next thing because we do a podcast event, called the Social Circle, and I said to Vanessa a few months ago, we need to start because we want to spotlight people from our community, and maybe if we do an event, you can have your books with you, and then people could ask questions about,
absolutely,
gardening things. So it's books. Signing spells, but then obviously people can ask questions and that knowledge as well.
Definitely.
I think would be great. So what made you move to France?
I'd finished a contract, so I'd been working in Africa, overseas for 10 years, and then I went back and did a community development contract in the UK, and that was 2 years, and I thought never again.
Right.
So, I mean, it was so impossible to get anything done because of all the committees.
Yeah.
And then, all the red tape staff would change and and I was just like, oh my God. I used to get so much more done in working overseas because people wanted the projects and they were up there and they, wanted action. So it was just so much easier anyway. So I was like, no, not again. So at that point, I always my place to go and figure out what to do in life has always been Canada. So I went off to Canada for 9 weeks and visited. So I got quite a few friends over there because I used to tree plant. I tree planted for a few years in Canada. So 2005, I went to Canada and I just thought I'd written a diary since I was like 11. Wow. I thought, right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find somewhere to rent in France and I'm going to take all my diaries and I'm going to put them into my computer.
Amazing.
So, and I thought, and that it'll be really interesting as well. And that's why in there also there's the bit about you actually remember things,
Yeah.
and you internalize them.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a very different way to actually how they happened.
Yeah.
And when I was going back through all my diaries, especially like in the teenage angst years, you know, I realised, wow, I didn't realise that was how it had really happened. You know, when all these years I've thought that it happened differently. So, and France, because I could already speak French.
Speak the language, yeah.
So it was sort of between Portugal and France. I could speak like a smattering of Portuguese, which I can't remember any of now. But so it was either there or here. And yeah, I just went on the internet and looked for places to rent and found somewhere in not far from here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's but I think there's a lot of people have the dream of writing a book and renting somewhere, shutting themselves off from the world and just focusing on that one thing. But you've actually done it.
Yeah, well, I just didn't really have any other thing to do.
So it's really great. Thank you for both that copies. It's been an absolute pleasure to really kind of get to know you in a different way. Through your authorship, because we don't really know each other that well anyway.
No, just at all.
From golf, really. You know,
we never really chat at golf because it's like fishing serious before and maybe a bit of a chat afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on.
It was lovely to meet you. It's another face. I don't know this side of the river very well, but it's another face that I now know.
Yeah.
And thank you for all the tips, and I will definitely have a read, and I will get on my gardening this year.
I think from listening to what you're saying today, I think definitely need to start gardening.
Yes.
I just calm down. Well, yeah,
I know.
It's grounded.
Yeah, even if it's just quarter of an hour a day, just zone out.
Yes, I definitely do need to do that. A bit of therapy.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, great to meet you. Oh, and thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
Your pleasure.
And thank you for listening or watching or however you receive your podcasts. Remember to like and subscribe and buy your cup of gin at the local supermarkets. It's now on sale at the Leclerc in Ribrac as well as the Intermarché in Ribrac. I had some last night, so I could see it. Fun when I walked in. I thought I know what she's, but I got an early birthday present from Beth. She gave me some gin glasses, so I had to test it out.
Was it full?
It was not. No, I know. I don't go mad. I had responsibilities this morning, so. But yeah, thank you all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.